All right, everyone, welcome back here. SportsBook Sports, all things sports betting. I'm your host, Connor, with my boy here, GA.
What's up? Welcome to episode 15.
Episode 15.
Yeah, these long form episodes, we're trying to do them for the college football previews, and then once we're done with those, we'll slide over. We'll do NFL previews.
Yep.
But yeah, today, August 10th, we got the Big Ten preview coming up.
Yep, Big Ten. All these episodes definitely are making me excited and hyped up for the college football season that's about to be starting here shortly. So, every week that we keep putting these out, we're just inching fucking closer and closer.
Yeah, a couple weeks to week 0. I think we might even have a Big Ten game in week 0, so I'll pull that up. And we'll talk about that maybe too. Give a little preview on that. But before we get started, SportsBook Sports on Instagram and YouTube. SportsBook Talks on Twitter. Give us a like, give us a follow. Let us know what you guys are thinking tonight. We won't be doing a 100K challenge episode today, but we will be putting out our picks for that on Twitter. So again, if you're riding us, if you're fading us, you get all our picks, all our interactions throughout the day on Twitter, on Sportsbook Talk. So give us a like. Let us know what you guys are thinking for your picks tonight.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, August 10th, Big Ten preview. Want to jump right into who we got for conference winners?
Yeah, I think we're both lined up for, and I would say a lot of people are, for the overall winner this year of the conference. They literally been, the last couple of years have really been the head and heels favorite when it comes to, I would say, just sheer talent in general.
Yep.
Both have Ohio State, though, taking the Big Ten this year. Like I said, I think their talent levels, pretty much uncomparable when you look at the rest of the conference. C.J. Stroud's coming in this year, who I think has some big shoes to fill. But I think he has the ability to come in and really make a name for himself and turn things up for them and the whole program, honestly. Ryan Day's done a great job there in just his third season coming up.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised how I don't know what the right word is for it, but just how fluid the transition was from Urban Meyer to Ryan Day.
Yeah.
And the offense and the defense, everything seems... he was obviously part of the program beforehand.
Yeah.
But, sometimes with these big-time guys and these big college programs, it's not easy.
Yep.
Switching over. So he took it over seamlessly, and they've been good. Made it to the finals last year. Or did they make it to the finals or the semifinals last year in the college football playoff? I think they made it to the championship.
Yeah, didn't they? Yeah, they lost to Bama.
Yeah,
they beat Clemson in the first game. I was going to say, didn't they win it? But no, it was
they beat Clemson,
Yeah, they beat Clemson pretty handily and then went and got manhandled by Alabama.
Yeah.
But obviously Ohio State returning a bunch of guys, except at the quarterback position. But offensively, a lot of talent's returning.
Yep.
Which is crazy to even say considering they had 10 NFL draft picks last year.
Yeah, it's crazy, and all these guys are. They're just one of the big programs, so they lose a lot of guys to the NFL every year, but then they bring in a bunch of people every year who go on to the NFL the next year. So, their wide receiver core is full. I like their group that they have there. That's why I like Stroud so much.
Yep. Master Teague, who made a name for himself towards the end of the year last year in a couple big games, like the one against Clemson. He had a huge game. So him coming back, I think he's got a big act to follow, considering what he built up for himself. So hopefully he can have a great year. But like you just mentioned, they lost some talent. They lost 10 fucking draft picks.
Yeah.
But they're just gonna bring back 12 more. And Ryan Day's sort of in autopilot right now. When you're in that type of program, you can just recruit kids and you're gonna get them in. It's just which one specifically are you going to bring in?
Yeah, and I do really feel, the win totals say it, the odds say it, I really do feel like they're head and shoulders above everyone. So, similar to kind of how Clemson is in the ACC, it's like if you're going to go to a Big Ten school and you're a top-level talent, chances are you're going to Ohio State.
Yeah.
Some of these other programs, you have to compete in conference with other schools.
Yeah.
Here, I feel like if you're one of those top-end guys, chances are you're going to Ohio State, where a few years ago even, it wasn't that case. Michigan was up there.
Yeah.
Some of the other schools, maybe Wisconsin, you had their years. So,
yep.
it just feels like over the last 3 or 4 years, it's just been all things Ohio State, and it's probably going to stay that way. I mean, the odds are 220 for them to win it all. When we did the ACC preview, we both gave out Clemson, but we said we weren't going to bet it because the odds were, I think, minus 900 for them to win it. What about Ohio State here, minus 220? Is that something that you think you'd be taking?
No, personally, just because I have faith in CJ Stroud. I mean, as you saw on the screen, he's going to eventually be my Heisman pick if I have to take one out of here.
Yep.
Just because I think with the offense that he's in, the talent he has around him, he ultimately should have a pretty solid year. But it's tough for me right now to put my money on something that's minus 200 juice to put my money in the hands of a freshman quarterback.
Yep.
I understand he's got all the talent around him. I think they could potentially in this conference with, the talent that is in the Big Ten, maybe they have a slip up somewhere. I mean, I see them running the table because defensively they're a powerhouse too.
Yep.
Especially when you match them up against the Big Ten talent. But I feel like if they can have a slip up game somewhere in the year and they lose one, that'll bring their juice down, and I might be able to get it at a better value. But for me right now, the minus 200, I'll put my money elsewhere.
Yeah, which, looking at their schedule, what do you think? If there is going to be a slip-up game for them, is there one that sticks out? I mean, to me, the two of their tougher games are on the road.
Yep.
So, I don't know what week it is, but middle of October, they go to Indiana. They're a 9-point favorite right now, estimated line.
Yep.
And then the last game of the season at Michigan. It depends on what you think of Michigan. It depends how it plays out. I mean, I'm not too high on Michigan this year, so I don't think really that's going to be a problem, especially if you're playing for seeding in the college football playoff, if you're a better team. I feel like the Indiana game might be the one that gives them a little trouble.
Yeah, I would say the Indiana game could potentially be one. Penn State isn't going to be terrible this year. They're another
Halloween game.
Yeah, they're another one. I mean, granted, Penn State's got to go into Ohio State and win that.
Yeah.
So that's definitely going to be a tough matchup. The Oregon game in the non-conference schedule is going to be tough. So if they start off the year 1-1, that I think could bring down the juice on them winning the Big Ten just from the public standpoint.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say you're 100% right. Michigan, Indiana. I think Penn State potentially if they have what I think they're going to have this year. I think they're going to turn it around 100% from last year. They went 0-5.
Yeah, to start
off, yeah. But I see them at least coming out and having a little bit better of a year, returning quarterback, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe Oregon. So if you can catch that Oregon L and they start off 1-1, I said, that'll drop that. But otherwise, they, as I just said before, if you just took it straight up for what it was, they should run the table.
Yeah.
Talent-wise. But again, an injury could throw a wrench in that, or one team that just overachieves.
I know we were looking at conference odds, but what about national championship odds plus 600? Does that even do it for you? No.
What other ones?
Bama 250, Clemson 400, Georgia 500, Ohio State 600, Oklahoma 800, Iowa State 2,500. Are the top 6 right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think Alabama right now that's another bet I probably wouldn't take.
Yeah.
Just because there's not enough value.
Yeah.
Because I would just want to take Alabama. I think they're the clear cut.
Yeah.
This year, hands down.
Yeah.
You saw what they did last year.
Yeah.
They just ran through it, and
they're just gonna do it again.
I think they have. Yeah. I think this year they're gonna do it again.
Yeah. So we both have Ohio State winning it all. That means we both have Ohio State winning the East.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like Ohio State to win the championship, obviously I don't think either of us are going to take Ohio State to win the East at minus 450. To me, that's just too much juice.
Too much juice.
Especially when you have Penn State, Indiana right behind them, and Michigan.
Yeah.
If they falter a couple games, if Penn State turns out to be, on the right trajectory and they're the real deal, Indiana, I like what they're doing there. So I'm probably not going to take it at minus 450. But what about the Big Ten West division? We have Wisconsin right now as a favorite, minus 125. Iowa's plus 175. And then the rest are all 1,000 plus. Minnesota, Nebraska, Northwestern, Purdue, all 1,000 plus. So
yeah, I personally like Wisconsin.
Yep.
Probably not another bet that I would take at the minus 125. I think there's better value you can find throughout the whole football, especially the Power 5 conferences. I think there's some more value out there you can get. But I think with the team they're returning and who they got on the table, I think personally I would play Wisconsin. I think they got, with Graham Mertz returning.
Yep.
I just see them. Their defense is always stellar. They just need to be able to produce some points to give them the opportunities to win games.
Yeah, that's the only thing that worries me a little bit about Wisconsin is their offense. But like you said, Graham Mertz coming back for another year.
Yeah.
If he turns out to be who they expect him to be, that could really help their passing game. I mean, rushing the ball, they're always pretty good as far as running the ball. But it's that slow offense, it's that good defense. And that's how they like to play. I mean, that's how it's been for the last few years. Probably how it's going to be again this year.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, if you look at their 3 losses from last year, they scored a combined 20 points in those 3 games. So, I mean, do I see a repeat of that happening? Definitely not, because I think they're returning a good portion of their offensive line. Like I said, Graham Mertz returning, who's got a good arm, and I feel like he's got a point to prove in the sense that he's got some making up to do for what happened last year.
Yeah, they definitely didn't. He definitely didn't have the season that he wanted last year. So yeah, you're going with Wisconsin. Not putting a bet in on it though, minus 125. I don't blame you.
Yep.
One bet that I might put in is going to be my pick, and we'll put out all our bets before we go into the season for the 100K challenge, because like you said, there might be some other conferences where we like different odds. The odds might change as we get closer to the season, but I'm going to go with Iowa for my pick.
Yep. No, I do like the value with them.
Yeah, I was surprised to see them being plus 175. I thought they were going to be a little bit closer to the even money mark. But again, obviously in that division there, it really comes down to Wisconsin and Iowa. And I just like the offense better for Iowa.
Yep.
Last year, 40th in points per game. Their passing offense is, again, much better than Wisconsin, which I like. Mm-hmm. What was it? Passing attempts, passing yards per game, about 200 a game. 100th in college football, which, again, isn't great, but still better than Wisconsin. Rushing yards per game, 171, 57th out of college football. So, not too bad. The losses that they had last year were just so close. They had 2 losses to start the year. They lost 24-20 at Purdue, which is a terrible loss. Mm-hmm. And then they lost 21-20 to Northwestern, which turned out to be not terrible. Northwestern had a pretty good team last year. Yep. And then they ended up winning out the season. Yep. So, I think Penn State's going to be a lot better. They beat Wisconsin 28-7 in the last game of the season last year. Like I said, their offense, I just think, is going to deliver. Their over-under is similar to Wisconsin's. I think they're both 8.5 or 9. Yeah. So there's big expectations for them, but I think they deliver. I think that they get it done in the Big Ten West.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like the value. Not necessarily that I agree with the pick, because I do like Wisconsin, but I mean, considering the value, it's like those two are a toss-up in my eyes. Yeah. I give the edge slightly to Wisconsin, but for that type of money, I mean, it's hard to go against Iowa too. And that's why I said I probably won't make a bet on this. Yep. Because I do like Wisconsin. I just don't think the juice is in my favor with that.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you with that. So, again, for our picks so far, let's get back to what we have, which is we have Ohio State for the overall conference, a Big Ten winner. Yeah. I have Iowa in the Big Ten West. You have Wisconsin in the Big Ten West. We both have Ohio State. We both have C.J. Stroud for the Heisman pick. Yep. Let's get over to our overs and unders. Yep. For the Big Ten for this season. So let's start with your over.
So with my over this year, and you can tell me what it is on FanDuel.
Yeah, we'll look that up.
Last time I checked, Purdue was at over 5. Okay. Jeff Braun is in his 5th season with Purdue.
Yeah, the over's actually juiced up, so it's 5, but it's minus 120 right now on FanDuel. So
what is it, minus 125?
Minus 120.
For the over?
Yep.
Yeah, so I like that. I think, and it's at 5, you said?
Yeah, so maybe it's going to move to 5.5, and the odds will adjust back.
A little bit. Yeah.
But still, you get in and now at 5. 5's a push. 6 is a winner, so it's not terrible.
Yeah. I like Jeff Brom's style. He's a very aggressive play caller, especially on the offensive end. They returned 9 guys on each side of the ball, including the quarterback Jack Plummer. They do have a UCLA transfer, Austin Burton, coming in, but I don't really see him taking over. I don't really know why he decided to transfer to Purdue with Plummer there, but there could be maybe like a little bit of a dual threat going on there. But I just think with the schedule they have, I see them getting a lot of wins early, where that that 5 number should be relatively like. So looking at their schedule, Oregon State win, Connecticut win, Notre Dame loss. Then I got them winning Illinois and Minnesota.
Okay,
so that's 4. That's 4-1 to start the year. They need to get me 2 more
the rest of the way.
Year.
Yep.
From the information that we received, it also comes with an estimated projected line for those games.
Yep.
I see them stealing a couple games on the road here this year. One of them being at Nebraska, which from what they're saying, they're going to be an underdog in that game. I think when the lines finally do come out,
we'll get around to the actual game.
You'll see that they'll be a favorite in that game.
Yep.
And then I do have them taken. From right now, they're a favorite against Michigan State in the projected lines. I think that one will come closer to even once the line are announced at that time. Yep. But I see them getting that win, and that puts me at the 6 right there. The rest of the games are tough. They got to go to Iowa. They got to go to Ohio State. They got to go to Northwestern, who looks like it's going to be a solid squad. And then they have Indiana as the last game of the year.
Okay.
I think they might be able to get that, but I'm not one to bet against Indiana right now because I love the coach there. I love the culture he's building.
Yep.
And I feel like they're going to have personally, though, like I said, I love Indiana. I think they're going to have a little bit of a down year.
Yep.
Personally, because they're overhyped now.
Yeah, they're going to. I mean, I was thinking about the other when we were doing research. Was Indiana the game that we bet? We went to Buffalo Wild Wings. Yeah, and we watched them
and we slammed them. And they absolutely murdered Michigan.
They were playing Michigan. Yep. Yeah, that was a stone cold lock. That was great. So I do love them for that. And then, like you're saying, I think that they got a little too much hype. Going into the season. I think they're going to be good.
I hope I'm wrong.
And I think they're building something, but I don't think that they're going to. I think they might start. I don't know if they're going to start the season as a ranked squad or.
I hope people forget about them.
Yeah,
because Penix last year got hurt. Who was their starting quarterback? He tore his ACL, and I think it was the game against Ohio State that he did that.
Yeah, and his injury history concerns me a little bit.
Yeah, I think he still comes in and does a good job. Like I said, it's either they're going to be overhyped coming into the year because people are going to see how good they started off the year last year.
Yep.
Which personally, I think it was a mix of them. It was a mix of their shift in the culture at Indiana and also the Big Ten just having a down year.
Yeah.
So I think they're the ones coming up that point. But again, I hope it's either that or that people completely forgot about him because they sort of fell off towards the end of the year because of the injury, and they just weren't the same without him there.
Yeah,
like he was the workhorse of the offense. So, but yeah, Purdue, like I said, I see them getting 7 wins possibly.
Yep,
6 minimum.
And if they don't at 5,
and then 5, I would take them if I can get them at 5.5.
Yep.
With the plus 125, I need things to go right for me, but I see them pulling that out.
Yeah, no alternate lines yet on FanDuel, but we'll be on looking for that. That stuff might come out. They might just not have it for college football, but they also, I know for like the NFL, I've been looking at that like every day, and they just keep adding stuff to it.
Yeah.
So as we get close to the season, we might be able to get some alternate lines.
Yeah, because for those specifically, they don't want to give you. They don't want to give you a line that is possibly too juicy right now with good value, and then all of a sudden, like fucking, like Wentz gets hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everyone that had the under in that is very not that it couldn't still go over.
Yeah.
But you take the under in the win total there, and their starting quarterback goes down. Like you're feeling great.
I'm hyped too because they were going to be my they were going to be a Super Bowl bet. They were going to be Carson Wentz for MVP was going to be my bet for this. So yeah, I'm happy we waited till we got a little closer to the season. My over for the year is a team that I think lost a lot of people, but I think they're going to reload just because Pat Fitzgerald's been there for a while now. He's got his recruits. He's got his squad that he wants to play with, the style that he wants to play with. So I'm going with Northwestern as my over. Okay. Right now it's set at 6.5. Let's look it up on FanDuel. I think a lot of people are kind of down on them this year. So yeah, 6.5 is minus 105 right now on FanDuel. I love that. I think that because they're kind of not the prototypical team that you expect to be at the top of the Big Ten, they kind of get a little hate. Yeah. Last year, people think that they overachieved with their 7-2 record, which maybe they did. They won a couple close games against some pretty good opponents, but I think that their style of offense and defense plays well in the Big Ten. It's kind of like what everyone does there. They play good defense. Yep. I mean, defense points per game, 4th. Third down conversion, 7th best team. Yards per play, 12th best team. So, I think that their defense is the real deal. I think their home field advantage, for as crazy as that sounds for Northwestern, is real because I think people sleepwalk. I think they play early. I think they have that tall grass, and it's just a slow game when you go there. So when you play against these faster teams, it kind of helps even it out a little bit. And then their offense, I think, is improving and going in the right direction. They're ranked in the 80s and 90s on most of their offensive metrics, but then you look at some of the stuff like rushing attempts per game, 19th in the country. Yeah, I love that because that there's an identity with Northwestern. You know how they're going to win. You hope that they can execute. And then the other thing that I love about them and the reason why I'm taking them for their over is just their schedule. Yep. If you look at their starting 4 games, Michigan State at home, winnable game. They're going to be a favorite in that game. Indiana State at home, they're going to blow them out. At Duke is their first road game. I think we talked about it on all of our ones so far, but we'll talk about it again. I think Duke's going to have a bad year. Yep. I think they're going to be pretty easy to beat. So you start out 3-0, Ohio U at home. Okay, MAC game might be a little dicey, especially in between 2 road games, but hopefully you get that one. And then you start going into where you might have a challenge at Nebraska. That's a coin flip game. Yeah. Depends really how Nebraska comes out, but say that's a loss, you're 4-1. Home against Rutgers, 12-point favorites. That should be a win. Yep. At Michigan, I personally don't count out Northwestern against any of the Big Ten teams besides Ohio State. So at Michigan, to me, is kind of a coin flip game, especially because I think Michigan's going to have a bad year. Say it's a loss, that's fine. Minnesota at home, that should be a win. Iowa at home is going to be tough. But again, they won that game last year at Iowa. Granted, it was a close game, 21-20. Yep. But now they have them at home. And then at Wisconsin, again, going to be a tough game, probably going to be a loss. Home against Purdue should be a win. And then you end the season with at Illinois. Yep. So, should be a win. Yeah, should be a win. What's their over-under? 6.5. Yeah. And I think there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 easy wins on their schedule. Yep. With Michigan State, Indiana State, Duke, Ohio State, Rutgers, Minnesota, Purdue, and Illinois. That's 8 easy wins. Nebraska's a coin flip, a true coin flip. It's a half-point spread right now. So that could be 10. And then you're left with Wisconsin and Michigan. Could be tough, could be close, could have a down year because they lost so many people to the NFL. But I think that's what Pat Fitzgerald is building. It's taken him a while. He's been there for 16 seasons now. Mm-hmm. But, you see some of these guys that they had going, they had the offensive lineman. I'm blanking on his name now, go to the first round to the Chargers. I think they're going to have a great running back this year. And Cam Porter, who they're bringing back. They have a transfer quarterback this year, so that could, give you some pause this year. It's going to be a new guy that they bring in, but I think that they value the running the ball, offensive line, defensive line, playing the defense so much that I think the quarterbacks can have time to develop, especially with that early schedule of those 4 kind of easier games to start the year.
Yeah.
So I think that shapes up nicely. I'm happy that it's almost only minus 105. So, I like them at the over 6.5 point for Northwestern.
Nice. Yeah. I think they definitely got a solid squad. It's funny because I was talking to you before, and I like the under, but listening to your side of things, I think you might have convinced me to take the over.
Dude, it's just defense. It's defense and schedule. I mean, I think offense wins you games, but I think defense keeps you close.
Yeah.
And I think that they're going to have another good defense this year. And then the schedule, I think, just shapes up really nicely for them.
Yeah. So, I mean, to hop right into my
so let's go to unders.
My under, I got Rutgers.
Which is funny. I want to hear why you think about Rutgers because I wasn't sure how I felt about them. I know they got Schiano.
Yeah, they got Schiano's in his second year. I think this actually technically might be his third that he's going into.
Yep.
It's funny because I'm big on returners, and especially in college.
Yeah.
But I think that I think last year, truthfully, was a very, very I can't even think of the word I'm trying to say. They went 3-6 last year.
Yeah, and they probably played better than you expected.
Yeah, they played better than I expected in those 3 games.
Yep.
The rest of the games, they showed their true colors. I think they were freaking, a Michigan State and a Purdue and a Maryland showing, which 3 of their games they won were all on the road.
Okay.
All huge letdown games for all 3 of those schools, considering. Like, Michigan State should have easily won that game, even though they weren't that good last year. Purdue the same, and Maryland the same. So, easily this team's an 0-9 team.
Yep.
Right? So what my mindset is, they're bringing back 11 guys on offense, 9 guys on defense. And from some of the research I've done, they actually did a decent job in the transfer portal, bringing some guys in. They're returning some key defensive players, obviously,
Yep.
with 9 people returning. But I just don't think they are enough to win games in the Big Ten. I think this year they go in.
Yeah, especially the line's at 4.5. You have to win 5 games.
Yeah, they're going to win their first 3 games, possibly.
Possibly.
They're going to win
kind of like
Temple.
Syracuse.
Yeah, they could lose at Syracuse. Then they got Delaware.
Yep.
So they're 2-1, let's say. Even if they go 3-0.
Yeah, say 3-0.
3-0. The rest of the games, they ain't winning. Their home games are too tough.
Yeah,
They
at
got Ohio
Illinois might be a winnable game.
I don't think so. Illinois came into Rutgers last year and got it done. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a revenge game for them, 100%. They could win Illinois. That's the one game,
But
though.
even though if they win that one, that's still 4 wins on the year.
Yeah, that's
still
the
need
one.
another one.
And that's if they go 3-0 to start the year.
Yeah.
Which I think they go 2-1 because I like Cuse this year.
Yeah.
I think I took them on the over for the ACC, so I think Cuse gets that game.
Yep.
But yeah, I think they win. I think they win 3 games this year. I think they go 2-1, and then truthfully, I don't think they beat Illinois. I think they might steal one of these games, like Michigan State or Maryland at home.
Okay.
The rest of the away games they lose. Obviously, Ohio State's going to come in there and pummel them. They got to go into Michigan. Michigan's not the greatest, but it's always tough for a terrible team to win at Ann Arbor. So I just, like I said, their talent, yeah, they're returning a lot, but it's not good talent. I don't think they upgraded at all.
Yeah, and like we were saying in some of our other episodes, like it takes a while to build a program.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, Greg Schiano's like I don't want to say like a household name, but he has some name recognition at this point, and it's just like it's going to take a while for them to get his guys in there playing his style of football and how he wants to get it done. So
100%, and I'm just not I just don't see it happening this year. They're playing the same guys from the year before, and it's just not gonna pan out the way he would like it to.
Yeah, ranked in the 80s and 90s in most offensive and defensive metrics. So
yep,
not the best. My under is just for my hatred of Michigan football, and I just think that every year they get hyped. I think every year they're a household name, and I think for the last 3 or 4 years they've just stunk and stunk and stunk. And I don't know how people bet them. They lose unbelievable games outright, and then they lose terrible games against the spread. At Rutgers, 11-point favorites. They end up winning that game 48-42, but that's a loss if you're gambling. Michigan State losing outright last year is a 21-point favorite. It's just atrocious. So if we want to dive into it, go game by game. They're over under 7.5 right now on FanDuel. The under is actually juiced to plus 105. I love that, getting plus money on what I think is going to be an easy bet. But they start out 4 games at home, which is nice for them. Western Michigan, Washington, Northern Illinois, and Rutgers. Maybe they go 4-0. Chances are, in my opinion, they go 3-1 and end up dropping one of those games, maybe to Washington, who looks a little stronger than people expect. Then you have at Wisconsin, at Nebraska. Tough 2 games right there. Home against Northwestern, again, another tough game. At Michigan State, who they lost to last year. Home against Indiana. At Penn State. At Maryland. Home against Ohio State.
Yep.
So if you count the games that they're favorites, that's 4. At Nebraska is 5. Northwestern is 6. At Michigan State, 7. And then you're down to Indiana and Maryland. I think that they're a favorite in a lot of games. I just think that this team, year in, year out, under-delivers. Yeah. I think that Jim Harbaugh's on the hot seat. He brought in one of his guys from his brother's team, some guy from the Ravens. I think their linebacker coach came in to help run the defense. I think his stuff is just antiquated at this point with the offense. Yeah. It's just tough to watch year in, year out. They always have some new quarterback that's supposed to be this great next thing, and it's just doesn't really pan out. I know they're transferring in someone this year to be their quarterback, but I just think that Jim Harbaugh is a great energy guy, team guy. Would love for him to be your coach, but not the best X's and O's guys at this point in the college football or NFL level. I think that you can try to bring in a younger coordinator, switching up the defense, going from a 4-3 to a 3-4, trying new things, but I just think unfortunately it's just they're gonna be underwhelming. They return 8 people on offense, 8 people on defense, but kind of middle of the road, both offensively and defensively. Passing attempts per game, 33rd in the country, but then only average 250 yards. So, they pass a lot, but I don't know. Every year I bet against them. I love them for that, but I just don't think that they have it this year. I think that Jim Harbaugh's done. I'm calling my shot with this. I'm going under the 7.5 at plus 105.
Love it. I do.
Yeah. I just don't think the defense is any good, and the offense is just looks like it's stuck in the mud sometimes.
Yeah. Would agree.
Yeah, so those are our Big Ten picks. That's our Big Ten kind of preview on the season so far. We've covered the ACC and the Pac-12 and other videos, so if you want to go back and give those a listen, definitely let us know what you guys are thinking for this year. Let us know if you agree with our Big Ten picks. Let us know if you disagree and who you think is going to end up winning this thing. SportsBook Sports on Instagram, SportsBook Sports on YouTube, and then SportsBook Talks on Twitter. Give us a like, give us a follow. Let us know what you guys are thinking.
Yes, sir.
And we'll catch you.
Yeah, we'll catch you guys next episode. Appreciate it all, and we'll see y'all then.